the Sunday 1 o'clock game. We saved this because we needed Jack Weinberger here for it. The Bills are 10-point favorites somehow hosting your Pittsburgh Steelers in Buffalo. And let me just set the scene for a second here. Back in week 13, the Steelers are miraculously 7-4 with Kenny Pickett. He goes down, high ankle sprain against the Cardinals. Mitch comes in. You get blown out a couple times. Looks like the season's over at 7-7. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, the savior, Mason Rudolph, comes in. You go 3-0 down the stretch here. Sneak your way into the playoffs. George Pickens is at 195, 131 yards in 2 of the last 3 games. There's life in this offense. We're starting to see a Pittsburgh Steelers team that is competitive. So, Jack, being someone who narrows in on them more so than the rest of us here, with what you've seen from Mason Rudolph over these past few weeks, do you believe that this team has a little playoff run in them? Can they go into Buffalo and win that game?
I think they absolutely could. I believe the first quarter of this game is monumental and crucial because I could see a world where these fans are jumping through the tables. It's loud.
They're crazy.
Buffalo's hot. They've won, 5-6 games in a row. Mason Rudolph hasn't seen a team like Buffalo yet. Seattle's not Buffalo. Baltimore's 4 stringers isn't Buffalo. And I forget who else. Cincinnati's not Buffalo. So I can see where Josh Allen's throwing a Stefon Diggs and scrambling and the crowd's loud and they're forcing turnovers. Just 14 zip off the bat. I could see that. But if we can weather that storm, get through the first quarter and a half and it's a close game, I believe they can hang around. Because I do believe this team is a bit revamped. They're energized. They're playing hard. Mason Rudolph is playing good football. And if we can kind of just stick around, silence that crowd a bit, get some stops, they could hang around, yes. Am I going to pick them to win the game? No. Can they hang around? Yes.
Ziggy, as a less partial party here, when you look at this game,
do you agree with Jack? One more thing. Buffalo also, they've won 5-6 games in a row, but they've looked mediocre in a lot of those games. Like, they barely beat the Chargers. They escaped against
New England. They didn't look that great.
No, like they've escaped against very, very mediocre teams. They haven't looked like total world beaters. I do agree, out of the Dolphins, Chiefs, and Bills, this is the worst matchup for the Steelers, the one that I didn't want. But it's a beatable team. And I do believe there's a world we can go in there and beat them.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, Jack. I mean, since week 4, the Bills are 4-9 against the spread, while the Steelers are 8-5. So there's a big difference in how they've outperformed expectations. The problem for me and why I can't pick the Steelers no matter what is that TJ Watt isn't playing. And without him on the defense, it's just so much worse. Right? The Steelers have done an excellent job getting after the quarterback. They've been about average. They're 13th in the NFL in sack percentage. But Watt is second among all edges in sack percentage. He's been the guy who's been constantly getting there and getting to the quarterback. And without him there to generate pressure, without him there hitting Josh Allen, maybe the Steelers cover for all I know. But it is so hard for me, even though we haven't seen a lot from Mason Rudolph, to think that he's going to be able to outduel a Josh Allen that's not getting hit by TJ Watt every other play. Right? Because who else is... I get that Highsmith has had a decent season, but there's nobody else on this defense that's a world-beating game changer like TJ Watt. And I mean, any team would suffer to be missing a player like that. So it's really hard for me to see them shutting down one of the best offenses in the NFL. And I just can't see Mason Rudolph keeping up in the shootout.
Well, we had that reel that came out, 2 months ago? We talked about Watt is almost like Patrick Mahomes for this team.
No, I've said he's Patrick Mahomes, he's Jalen Hurts, he's Josh Allen.
You're 1-10 without him. You allow 6 more points per game, and you have half as many sacks when he doesn't play. Like the TJ Watt effect is real, and it's upsetting that, of course, Watt has to get hurt right before the big playoff game. His injury luck has been pretty crappy over the past few years, whether it's amount of games missed or the timing of some of these injuries. I'm not too confident for you guys. Buffalo at home, Josh Allen, 102.4 passer rating in Buffalo, 83 on the road. Jack's not joking when you talk about that crowd. I went there for a Bills game one time. I was 12 years old, Ziggy, and I had some random girl twerking, while making fun of me and having all the Bills. We were just walking in the aisle, and the Bills fan starts twerking on me. I put my hands up. I was like, what is going on here? And the rest of the Bills fans started booing me. while a girl twerked on me.
How old were you?
I was 12. I was 12 or 13 years old. Like these Bills fans are no joke.
Isn't that a felony?
Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, no, they're crazy. No, not with this particular, not this particular person. But
no,
it was,
that's what I'm talking about, like weathering that storm. If we get to the 4-minute mark in the second quarter and it's a game, I feel pretty comfortable.
And I don't think any of your quarterbacks, though, Pickett, Trubisky, or Rudolph, none of them would I be comfortable going into that environment.
I could see a world though too where it's the first possession, it's loud. Rudolph turns the ball over. We go 3 and out.
Yeah.
Buffalo scores at 7-0, and then the game's over.
But he's also your best bet because Buffalo's going to score some points, especially without Watt.
Yeah.
And Rudolph's the only guy in this offense who could do that.
Who scored 30 points 2 weeks in a row. So yes, he's the best chance.
I want to talk about later in the season. Not now, but we'll save for this offseason. I'm not sure if Kenny Pickett is coming. I think he will come back because that's just, it seems like a Steeler thing to do. I'm not sure it's the right decision to bring Kenny Pickett back next year, but
I mean, yeah, that'll be later on.
We'll save that conversation for another day.
I mean, here's what he can say for the Steelers, right? If you're looking for ways to win the game, here's what it's going to have to be. Stefon Diggs hasn't gone over 90 yards since October 15th. You got to keep that trend going. You can't let him beat you. And if you want to beat the Bills defense, the area where they're the weakest is deep pass plays. So you're going to have the offensive line play well enough that Rousseau and Floyd and Ed Oliver aren't getting to Mason Rudolph. Mason Rudolph's going to have to continue being a relatively efficient passer. I mean, the difference between him and what you've seen from the Steelers passing game this season is night and day, right? When he's in, it's 0.25 EPA per play. The season average is negative 0.06. So there's a massive difference when he's on the field, at least so far. You're just going to have to hope that you can keep Rudolph upright. He can connect on some deep plays like we've seen Pickens get in this season. And then you just hope the defense can hold on.
I agree.
Najee is also playing better too, which just seemed to open some things up for Rudolph, Pickens, Deontay Johnson. We saw a 75-yard touchdown from DJ too against Baltimore. We do need one of those long explosive plays down the field for a touchdown, like one of those deep balls where some sort of busted
the
coverage.
offense will have to show up. The offense will have to be there.
One of those long plays for a touchdown. We need one of those.
Well, you've been getting them.
Yeah, with Rudolph we have.
All right, so just in terms of game picks here, I'm going Buffalo. I don't think it'll be particularly close. I'm assuming.
I mean, I can't.
Someone might be going with an upset.
I can't pick Buffalo, so I'm
No,
gonna.
you can't. You can't.
I'm gonna say we're gonna go in there and get the job done and go to Baltimore.
The last 2 times the Bills have been double-digit favorites, I've said they're going to win, but the other team covers. Happened against Los Angeles. Happened against New England. I think it's going to be exactly the same script against the Steelers.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So we got.
So I think they'll win, but it's going to be close.
Yeah, so you got a close Buffalo win. I got a big Buffalo win, and
I got a Pittsburgh blowout
with the with the Steeler blowout. Not a close Steeler win, a blowout in Buffalo, in Orchard Park.
21-6.